A very good evening to you once again from the sports desk. Indeed, Mamelodi Sundowns visit Cairo tomorrow for the second leg of the CAF Champions League final against Pyramids FC. Now, the Brazilians are in a less comfortable position than they would have hoped for after giving up a stoppage-time equaliser in the first leg at Loftus Versfeld. Masandawana now are visiting 30 June Stadium, needing to score at least once and not concede to be crowned African champions for the second time ever in their history. Now, who will likely claim the continent's bragging rights? Farpost football editor Mthokozisi Dube joins us now for more on this. Mtho, a very good evening. I understand you are in Cairo. What is the situation like there in terms of fans and how Mamelodi Sundowns were welcomed in Cairo?
Good evening, Kwena, and good evening to the viewers. Look, very interesting. I think. I mean, flying down here in my flight, I think I had about 15 Sundowns fans. There's another group that just arrived today. I'm told about 100 of them. You can see the coach spoke to us just about an hour ago, and he says they're happy with the reception that they've gotten in Cairo. We saw the team, training. They're in good spirits. I mean, they were singing. So yeah, looking very positive. The coach was very calm. So it's quite interesting.
I mean, talking of fans, Pyramids FC is relatively a new team. We spoke to a journalist from Egypt last week or so, and saying that this is like the Manchester City of Egypt. Not too many fans, still a new team, but they know how to win. How are the Egyptian fans responding to Pyramids FC being in the final? Is there more support? Are we still seeing the more Al Ahly and Zamalek fans overpowering those of Pyramids?
Yeah, look, I think the coach of Pyramids, he spoke to us today, and he said that in their games there's usually between 50 and 100 fans. So he says it's been difficult. It's a team that doesn't have a huge fan base, but he's hoping that the Egyptians will come to the stadium to rally behind Pyramids. But quite interesting. I've spoken to a number of people that I meet. Because I mean, this is a football-loving nation. I mean, the Uber drivers that I've used, they've actually said to me, we are going to be supporting Sundowns because they're either Zamalek or Al Ahly fans, and they're saying they don't want their rival to win this thing. So we may have a scenario where Sundowns will have fans from both these big teams who don't want a Pyramids to win the CAF Champions League.
Let's touch on Pyramids and we'll come back to Mamelodi Sundowns. I mean, this is a team, as I said, 2019, not too many people have heard of this team, but it has risen and, I mean, came very close to winning the Egyptian League where they, they lost by 2 points. In fact, they were believing this past week that they had won it, but only to find out that it is Al Ahly who have won, that scored 5 goals in midweek. So clearly a team that is on form. What are they looking like going into this? I mean, you could see the way they celebrated that late equaliser, that they feel like it's advantage for them.
Yeah, look, I think this is a massive thing for them. I mean, it's a young club. They've not gotten to this stage of the CAF Champions League. This is the first time. But I think they've invested quite well in their squad. You look at the kind of players that they have in their squad. For them to come to Pretoria and play in the manner in which they played, I must tell you that they are a team who believe in themselves. They didn't come to park the bus. They played football. In the last 15 minutes, we saw them, just throwing in balls into the box and eventually getting that goal. So obviously coming to Cairo now, Sundowns will be, will have to get an early goal, just to at least level matters and, be on the front foot. But yeah, look, I think Pyramids also are a well-coached team. You can see they've good structure. They never give up. We saw them against Orlando Pirates as well, coming from behind. They score a lot of goals in the last, in the dying minutes of a game. So it speaks of the character of, the team.
And there's that player, Fiston Mele, who has been a revelation. In fact, many are even linking him to a team here in South Africa, but a conversation for another day. He is definitely a player to watch from Pyramids FC side.
Absolutely. I mean, I was looking at him just now, when they were training, he's lethal. I mean, in his time in Tanzania, 2 seasons, 54 goals. He's coming here. This season, I think he's sitting on 16 goals, so he's consistent when it comes to scoring and the kind of goals that he scores. I mean, sometimes just half chances, he takes them and, buries them. So I think he would be a player that the Sundowns defenders will have to, look, closely and try and restrict him from making a lot of movements in the box, because that's how he scores goals.
If you look at history, 4 times these two teams have met, and Mamelodi Sundowns have never lost to Pyramids FC. In fact, the last time they met away, it was Mamelodi Sundowns that won. So that should give them a little bit of a boost, knowing that they've done it before and they can do it again.
Yeah, look, I think the last time they met in Cairo, Tebogo Mokoena, I think December 2023, Tebogo Mokoena getting that goal and they won that game 1-0. Miguel Cardoso, the Sundowns coach, also said that the fact that they've come here and won against Pyramids before must give them confidence that they can do it. Dennis Onyango also reminding us during the press conference and saying that in 2016 they actually won the CAF Champions League in Cairo. He believes that they will lift it again tomorrow in Cairo.
Mamelodi Sundowns fans have been questioning the selection of coach Miguel Cardoso. Is there an idea of what we are likely going to see tomorrow?
Look, I also did question in the first leg. I think Thembazwane is by far the most experienced player in the squad. I think when you're leading 1-0, you want to bring him in and have a bit of control. He also has a goal in him. He has an assist in him. So I foresee him playing a big part in tomorrow's game. Of course, he was on the bench in the first leg. He never got any minutes, but this is a kind of game where you need a Thembazwane to come in and you can see the players around him have a lot of respect for him. When he's on the field, I think there's that confidence, especially when you now want to protect a lead. So I do see that change, that Thembazwane change happening. Other than that, I don't see Cardoso making too many changes from the starting lineup that we saw in Pretoria. He did indicate during the press conference that there is no injuries in the team, so everyone is fit and raring to go.
I mean, speaking of Thembazwane and the changes, likely to start or come in as a sub, there's also a question of Peter Shalule. Here's another player who's got a goal in him, especially when you're playing away.
Absolutely. And I think Cardoso is spoiled for choice. You look at Ribeiro in the league, he's got 16 goals in the league. You look at Reina's another 14 goals in the Betway Premiership. So he's got, goals. Shalule as well, I think he's done it in the Champions League. He's got experience, international experience as well. So he's got some, good options there. So Shalule actually could be one of the players that, comes in and starts the match. Of course, last week we saw Tashrik Matthews starting the match and Arthur Sales. So we could actually see a Shalule, possibly a Thembazwane, coming into that starting lineup.
Let's touch on the Cardoso factor. Lost the Champions League final last season. He's in another final. How much of a role do you think that will play?
Look, I was actually just saying to him, I had a chat with him just on the sidelines, and I said to him, Coach Yusu, you look so calm. He says, yeah, no, look, I'm calm. I'm easy. I'm not under too much pressure. If we win the game, we'd have won. So I think he's got that experience. And I think it sort of the players feed off the energy of the coach. When a coach is panicking, I think the players are likely to also panic. But in his case, I think he's quite calm. I think it's the experience that he's gotten in this competition. He was even just stressing how he lost the final, last year. So he says it comes down to finer details in a match. So he's actually also pointed out to his players, 3 areas where he feels they sort of let themselves down. Last week, I think one of those areas obviously being allowing Pyramids to throw in balls into the box and not defending very well. So I think that experience will definitely go a long way.
And I mean, we've seen that with their game against Orlando Pirates, that this is a team that will cross in those balls, dead ball, and then they do manage to get goals there. Let's end with a bit of cliche, if I may, Mthokozisi. Where do you think the game will be won or lost?
Look, I do think that Sundowns have what it takes to get an early goal, and they have the quality to also defend that goal. I have a feeling that Sundowns will obviously get an early goal and and be able to defend their league, because Pyramids, in the first leg they came to play football, and I'm sure playing at home now they will actually do that. And it's if Cardoso unleashes Sundowns as we know them as an attacking team, they will definitely hit Pyramids.
Mthokozisi, Dube, thank you very much for coming through to speak to us.